Last week what we did is we looked for information within the vault. So we did a search for information, and that was based on 2 criteria. We were looking for a description that was named plate, and we also were looking for dimensional values that were associated to that plate. And Autodesk Vault has the ability to index that information so that it's much easier to search and find information much quicker. Once we found that data, we ran a copy design. So we replicated an existing assembly, and during that process, we reused a lot of parts. We also copied some parts along the way and assigned some part numbers. And during that copy stage, we copied some documentation that already existed, and we very easily updated that documentation with some new changes. Once we were finished with that step, we replaced the small clamp assembly with a large clamp assembly so that we got the right part in the assembly. And when we were finished, we checked that into Autodesk Vault so that we could secure that information and also share it with the rest of the organization. So I'm going to start the demonstration. I am going to kind of show you some more review of what we just saw. So I'm going to switch gears here to our presentation. And for those of you that haven't seen this yet, this is the standalone client that runs with Vault Manufacturing. What we're going to do is take a look at the part that we had created last week. So what we did is we replicated an assembly, which was this short clamp, and we copied some parts. And what we did was we copied a plate, and we also copied a harness that was included in this. One of the things that I'm able to do inside Vault, if this is new to you, is I'm able to see this information very easily. If I go to the preview window, it's going to show me the assembly, and I'm not viewing the inventor assembly, I'm viewing the DWF that was created of that assembly. And DWFs are just a very lightweight format of your CAD file, and that could be AutoCAD Electrical, AutoCAD Mechanical, or AutoCAD Inventor, whatever design tool you're using within your environment. If I want to see more relationships with this particular assembly, I have the ability to go in and look at the where used. So I know that this assembly is used within some documentation. And last week, one of the things we did was we replicated an existing 2D document, and we very quickly modified that document with some new changes. And what you're seeing in front of you is that assembly. And there were a few pieces of information that we modified. One of those is that we created a new short jig harness. You can see here I assigned a new part number to that. And I also created this new short back plate, the 700-200 assembly number down here. And then I modified some information right in Vault, and that automatically sent those changes down to the drawing. And one of those pieces of information was I changed the title, and that was just a short clamp. When we were finished with that, we went ahead and we replaced that assembly with an incorrect assembly that was contained within Inventor. And we'll just show you that here in a second. As you can see here, I have a series of those large clamps. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see that that new clamp that I created, the short clamp, was added to the assembly. Now what we need to do is there's a bill of material that's associated with this assembly, and we need to update those changes. Right now, when I actually go to show you that assembly, you're going to notice that there's 5 of these large clamps. Now you're seeing 4 in front of you, but again, we're going to do an update to that bill of material in a second, and it's going to automatically update the short clamp for us. Now there's also some drawing documentation associated with this, and we'll just show you that real quick. Unfortunately, we ran out of time last week, so I didn't get a chance to really show this change, but we modified the drawing very quickly and placed that new short clamp on there. So again, all the documentation was just automatically updated, and a lot of the user interaction was removed and automated with the Vault. So now we've got an item master associated with this particular assembly, the main jig. And what we want to do is we want to update the bill of materials. Now, currently we're showing you the Autodesk Vault realm, and this is really just core Vault. And I want to move into the item master. And once I make that transition, I'm really working with Vault Manufacturing. I'm no longer working with core Vault tools. Now to go to the bill of material for this assembly, all I have to do is go to the item, and it's going to immediately switch me to the item master and show me some information about that particular item. Very quickly here I can see that there's a drawing associated to that item. There's an assembly, a 3D assembly associated with it. There's also some bill of material data. I'm just going to move this up a little bit so we have some more room. And we're going to collapse this and show you this assembly hierarchy. And right now you can see that I've got the tall clamp assembly. And that tall clamp assembly shows me that I have a quantity of 5. Now Core Vault, the free vault that comes with Autodesk Inventor or AutoCAD or Electrical, does not have the ability to show you quantity information within the tool. This is only something that's available inside Vault Manufacturing. Now with quantity information, I can override. I can also add information to this particular bill of material, and we're going to get to that in a second. What I truly want to do right now is I want to update this bill of material. And all I have to do is really go through the right mouse button click and run an update. Now just to let you know some history here, if I tried to release this assembly without updating it, Vault Manufacturing is going to warn me and tell me there's a pending update. And actually it's going to provide me with a wizard and allow me to update right that from within the change order. In this case, I already had knowledge that there was a pending update. So I just hit the update tool, and what the software is going to do is it's going to evaluate what changes were made to that assembly. Now when it's finished, it provides me with the wizard to show me what files are newly modified or that have been changed within the bill of material. And you can see it's kind of hard to see here. So what I'm going to do is just look at what's new to this bill of materials by organizing it by new items. And you see that I've got the short clamp assembly that I created, the back plate that I modified, and it also provides me that short jig harness that I modified using that copy design tool last week. Now to move forward, all I have to do is just hit next and continue on with the wizard. And once I'm finished, I'm just going to hit close and show you that same bill of material we saw a second ago. And now what you're going to notice is the tall clamp has changed the quantity to 4, but now we have the new assembly. We have the short clamp that we created last week has been automatically updated within the bill of materials for this item. So it was very simple for me to do that. Now there were some other things that happened in the background here that aren't too relevant to you, but it also modified the drawings and updated those. So if I move over into the General tab here, I'm just going to show you what this new drawing looks like, and you're going to see something that's going to be right inside the window here. And what Vault Manufacturing is going to do is when an item is in work in progress, which means it can be edited, it's going to place a watermark or a stamp on the drawing. If my rights allowed me to log into the system and see a document that was in work in progress, if I tried to print this, that watermark or that stamp is going to show up. Well, if I'm in manufacturing and I'm cutting metal and I print this document, it could be changing. It's currently work in progress. I could potentially manufacture something that could be incorrect. So what I want to do is I only want to allow documents to be viewed when they're released to certain users, and we can set up that security. When this is released, that watermark will actually be removed and be replaced with an effective release stamp down at the bottom so that it's not so much in your face. But again, it's showing end users what the state is for a particular document. And we'll come back to this a little later just to see what it looks like when it's released. So now what I want to do is switch gears a little bit, and what we're going to ultimately do is add the electrical data into this bill of material. We'll get to that in a second. So what I want to do is I want to move over back into the vault, and I want to assign my electrical project to the item master. And what this is going to do is it's going to evaluate the electrical project, and it's going to show me what components are included on those schematics. And I'll just show you a couple different previews of the schematic data that I've got here. So I've got an electrical project that was made with AutoCAD Electrical, and it contains a series of files, and inside those files is component information. Now, if I want to move this into the item master, all I have to do is select the project, right-click on the project, and use the assignment wizard. And what this is going to do is evaluate the electrical project and see what component data is there. Now you can see I've got a series of part numbers that came right out of AutoCAD Electrical. These are actually manufacturing part numbers.